And you are live.
Good morning. Today is Thursday, March 12th. This is the February meeting of the Financial Advisory Commission. This is Jim Cardillo, Vice Chair, acting as the chair for this meeting. With us in attendance this morning are Commission members Peter Vale, Joe Rubino, Ed Meehan. We are also joined by members of the City Council, Alderwoman O'Neill, Alderman Thorpe, the acting Finance Director, Joel Palico, and the acting City Manager, Victoria Buckland. And I have invited former Alderman Ross Arnett to the meeting as well. The first item on the agenda today is the approval of the agenda. I hope you've had a chance to review, and if so, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda, or if there's any amendments.
Peter moved, I'll second.
Okay, Peter moved and seconded by Joe. Thank you. All in favor of approving the agenda as submitted, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Next item is the approval of minutes. We have minutes from the August 14th meeting to approve. Should probably corrected that the approval of the minutes indicates the January meeting. The January meeting did not have a quorum, but the minutes to be approved are the minutes from the August 14th meeting. And I would request any revisions to that or a motion to approve as submitted.
A motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Vale.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Meehan. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right. Next item on the agenda, a brief remark from the vice chair. I am sitting here as the acting chair as a result of the recent passing of our colleague, Mr. Sussman, founding member of the Financial Advisory Commission. This was a shock to me and as well as to many. Mayor Littman had some remarks in some of his communications from the office, and I was very saddened to hear about his passing. He was a great leader for the FAC and a very dedicated servant to the city. And his passing is greatly missed. His leadership, his advice. I learned a lot from him over the last 7 years serving on the commission. I don't have much more to say other than he will be missed. Next on the agenda are reports from the Finance Department, City Manager, and Audit Committee. So, Vic, I guess I'll start. Joel, you can introduce yourself and tell us how you're doing.
Great. Thank you, Vice Chairman Cardillo. So my name is Joel Palico. I've been on site now for a little under 2 weeks. Been drinking from the proverbial fire hose, as most will in the early start of their job, but getting really focused up, trying to make sure to stabilize the finance department, which has been experiencing some turnover in the leadership capacity over the most recent year. Been receiving immense amounts of support from the council as well as leadership, including Vicky. It's been a wonderful start thus far, getting to know the colleagues within the city of Annapolis. And while I don't have a more robust finance update for today, just want to make sure you guys know that we're focused on implementing some procedures and growing the team accordingly. And so excited about being here and excited to serve the city. Happy to go further into my background if that would be helpful, but don't want to take up a meeting time for that. Not needed.
Thank you. Joel, is there, I guess maybe I'll ask Vicky the question then about the staffing issue. There was an open position for a deputy finance director and I don't know, I guess now the budget manager position. So if you could talk about what the staffing looks like today and in terms of vacancies.
Yeah, so today is a banner day in that regard. Not only obviously we have Joel and his colleague Sean who are helping and filling in leadership capacities, but the deputy director position actually has been filled, and today is her first day. So she's over in HR for the morning, doing all the normal onboarding paperwork and stuff like that. Karen Ajayi is her name. Most recently comes to us from Deloitte, but has history in a number of different areas, including government. She spent time at the county and has a 20-year history to bring to the job. So we're very much looking forward to having her on board. And obviously, 3 key positions that were vacant. Between Karen, Joel, and Sean, the intention is to keep on keeping on. As Joel said, his number one priority is that stabilization. Obviously, we're in the thick of budget, and that timeline will continue. So, yeah, lots going on.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Is there also a budget manager vacancy?
Yes. Yeah, so we will be filling that. Obviously, the priority is to fill the finance director position. So that posting should be going up soon. Just for this body's knowledge, there are 2 key postings out already. The city manager position is out there, and city attorney position are both posted. So go ahead and light up your networks. Just FYI for this group, I am not intending to apply for a permanent city manager position. I will happily go back to my normal role. So definitely encouraging people to light up their networks. So
Thank you, Vicki. Thank you. I guess I can transition from Joel's report right into yours then.
yeah. So obviously that wider set of vacancies is something the city's focused on. As I said, those 2 are out. The other thing that has happened recently is that the HR manager retired. And so we have an acting HR director as well. So the next rounds to go out are finance director and HR director. And those should be coming out pretty soon. And so obviously a lot going on over here. The other thing that I definitely wanted to address to this group in particular is that the final piece of what's going on is we're in collective bargaining with all 4 of the unions that the city has contracts with. So I did want to, we've talked about it before with this group. And this group has had, I think, some understandable frustrations in the past that it sort of gets brought in on the end after negotiations are done to opine on how things turned out. And part of what we had talked about previously was having some discussion on the front end of what are the biggest concerns. And as we're into bargaining, are there particular points that you would ask that we keep in mind and keep at the forefront as we engage in that negotiation? So I did want to have get a sense from this group of kind of where your particular concerns are, so that we could have some of that input more on the front end rather than the back end.
Thank you, Vicki. I'll throw the floor open to commission members or other members of the meeting. I know that it's stated in the FACT charter that there is a review of collective bargaining agreements. Personally, I know the FACT would love to be a participant in those meetings. One caution I would remind that those meetings, particular the confidentiality issue of what's discussed at those meetings. I would advise anyone who has not taken the Open Meetings Act training with the state to please do so prior to participating in those discussions, so you understand the nature of those discussions and understand what the Open Meetings Act is and to get certified in that.
So participation in the actual negotiation meetings, that's not something that I would be prepared to have a FAC member do. The FAC can't speak on behalf of the city, which is the underlying assumption of participating in the union negotiation. So we can have that discussion, but that's what I would, what I'm interested in particular is, what are those concerns on the front end? And I think, Mr. Cartillo, I think it's possible that I misheard you. It's possible that what you were actually asking about was, is there a way to get some updates along the way rather than sitting down at the negotiating table itself? And so if I misheard your
Okay.
question, I'll apologize.
My thinking on this would be the FAC designee could attend such meetings while providing counsel and guidance to city staff outside of the meetings. But my thought was that a FAC designee could attend those meetings, not to vote, not to engage in opinion, but to attend and to listen. If that's
I would need to,
guardrails or boundaries that would be permissible.
yeah, I would need to talk with the Office of Law. My working assumption is that's probably not something that would be allowed. But I can validate that.
Noted. Thank you. Anyone else have any thought? Oh, I'll recognize Ross Arnett.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm loath to comment. At least I jeopardize my position being nominated to this group, but the ancient history of this is way back when the commission was formed, and it was Alderman Israel and I who did the legislation, but Fred Sussman and Lee Finney were really stalwarts from the community, and this was sanctioned by then Mayor Cohen, was that the FAC would in fact sit in as a very heavily caveated, no disclosure kind of role. But we viewed it as the FAC could be there, but not council members, but that the FAC could help later on when the budget process was going, brief the council. The FAC is set up, the commission is set up to brief the mayor and the council and the finance department and anyone else who wants to look at it. It's always been a ticklish issue. No mayor has ever wanted the FAC to be there. There was a time, I believe it was under Mayor Panelides, where Alderwoman Finlayson and I actually did participate in the union negotiations. And it was when we were doing interest-based bargaining. And the flaw there, first of all, it was very fruitful, and I thought that Sheila and I did a good job. But basically, we were in part of making agreements between the administration and the unions. And that wasn't right because Sheila and I were committing the city and the rest of the council and the mayor to these agreements, and it would have been very hard to back away from them. So that's clearly having council members there or even voting members other than the direct administration, I don't think could work very well. But having a person that was a fully committed to confidentiality as a witness, and then participation can find its own level. But that has never found favor with any administration or any city manager for that matter. I saw Mike Melanoff last night. These are very ticklish, but it also happens that it affects easily 60% of the size of the budget, and really more when you think about compensation, and even more than that when you think about the pension plan for the public safety people. So, and last term, the FAC did send a letter to the mayor asking for more involvement in the union negotiations, because it is kind of the heart of the budget. The AFR and the union negotiations pretty much lock up about 90% of the entire budget. And so if the fact they're going to be a factor, their involvement certainly should be given some consideration.
Thank you. Not only does it affect the current budget cycle, but these negotiations carry into out years, which also addresses the FAC's commitment to a sustainability program, which we've tried to address previously. So these discussions are critical not only to the current year, but to subsequent years. Mr. Vail.
From my perspective, and just to echo Ross's or Mr. Arnett's comments, that if we're talking about 60% of the budget and we're talking about out year planning and long-term viability of the city, for me, I can understand the reticence to have another person participate at a meeting, but in terms of supporting the budgeting process, I'd like to have some sort of just base level information on. I think it's 4 unions that are being negotiating with, the size, the head count, the dollars involved, pay rates, what the counties or what the city's initial projections, look like from some scenario projection process, so that as we go through this budget process and subsequent budgeting processes, that we can keep that information in the back of our minds. And perhaps, there are some materials from the previous round that were put together as informational packets to the council people or individuals that were participating in those meetings that could give me a sense of, what I should be concerned with, and also where I could perhaps provide value or insight into the process. So I think for me, it's just informational gathering much more than participation.
Thank you. Mr. Meehan.
Thank you. So I can be brief because this is a Yogi Berra issue, right? This is deja vu all over again. So in summary, I agree with every point that's been made, but we have discussed for quite a bit the notion that there would be a designee. My understanding, is that the request was basically to be an observer, to take no active role, but to be able to have conversation and advice behind the scenes as appropriate. And then also for that designee to be the primary point of information flow back to the FAC. So that, in my view, that's something that would still be of great value. I understand there's no progress on that point, but I think it would be of great value if something along those lines could be done. Then more broadly, we have articulated in the past a number of areas of particular focus. I'm not going to repeat them actually right here because we are in a public meeting, but we have identified that in some discussions. We've identified areas of concern, and I know some comments we've provided after the fact in prior negotiations, and I would also echo that it would be helpful going into this round. I would have hoped we could have gotten here's where we are, here's where the city has areas of particular concern that we might be able to provide input. So I think everybody's doing doing their very best, and I appreciate that we have new personnel who've got to, come in and gauge the situation and figure out how to move best forward in the most effective way. I think the FAC is basically neutered in this area, and we are in a position where we can provide very, very little help to the city, and I think we all want to do the best job we can. So I do think the system's got to change, but we need to get some sort of closer involvement rather than, I believe, inevitably we will once again come in after the fact, and we will politely try to grouse, but I'm not sure how much we can really, be of value if it continues in this fashion. So I'll leave it at that. I don't think those views are new. I've expressed those, previously, as I have others. So happy to work in the best way we can, but we're really kind of hamstrung here.
Thank you. Ms. Buckland.
So one of there's several hesitations that you see in me regarding that observation. One of which is that the vast majority of just sheer time that's spent in negotiations is not necessarily on economic items. And so there's a lot that's there that's of interest to the city and to the unions around working conditions and other things that don't necessarily have financial impacts, but that have impacts on the day-to-day existence of the people who work here. And those elements are not of interest to the FAC. And I don't think that there's, I don't think that there's a role that's there. So part of what you hear from me regarding that direct observation and sitting in the room is that, first of all, I think it's a little bit of a waste of time for the person that's there, because so far, right, we've had a number of meetings with them, and I have now a bare minimum of anything that's financially related yet, right? Almost everything we've talked about so far has been non-economic. So, that's part of what you see in me is I have a sense of what that balance looks like. I realize you guys do not, because you're not sitting there. You're sort of have to trust me on that. I will in good faith go to the Office of Law and ask some questions about that advisory role. But I'm just going to tell you, I'm not a fan of the idea of having someone who's in the room. I think that has a bit of a chilling effect on a whole range of discussions that it's really important for us to have, but that the FAC has no interest in.
Thank you. Mr. Vail.
Hi, Vicky. Is there perhaps, and just because I don't know how the schedule for these negotiations or how topics are brought up, but if there's a series of 10 meetings over the course of the negotiations, just in terms of like setting goalposts, are there specific days where more financial related matters are being discussed, or is it just kind of these are the topics du jour for the meetings that occur? So maybe there could be meetings at 7 or 8 where it would be appropriate for one of us to potentially sit in and listen, and be introduced in that capacity, so as not to ruffle any feathers or present any concerns to the labor side of the meetings.
Right now, I don't have a way of predicting those topics ahead of time right now. That's not where we are in the negotiations yet.
No, and that's fine. I mean, and that's exactly what my question was intending to suss out. So thank you.
Mr. Arnett?
So, I, this is a question, but is it your sense, Madam City Manager, that things like the sixth EMT vehicle will be part of the contract negotiations, which would have a big impact on the budget for fire? And if they are being negotiated there, that is going to have a significant impact on the budget. And it is a financial matter, and it is a matter that is not only this year's budget, but every year thereafter, and also big impact on uh, uniform costs, training costs, and especially the pension plan. And those are really vital interests to the financing of the city. I like Mr. Vale's notion that maybe there's, first of all, I think it's only as an observer, not as a participant, but also that when there are agendas, as that's my recollection of how things happen, there would be agendas where things financial would be specifically the topic of the day. Didn't mean that it didn't spill over into other meetings. Those meetings were virtually every day for a number of months. So, commitment to this is something I would advise the members of the FACT is not a trivial matter. It really soaked up a lot of Sheila and my time, and certainly the city manager knows from her experience with these negotiations. But there are some really big essential things that get locked up in the negotiations and become de facto in the budget. So it's not like it's without some significant consequences.
Thank you. Let me ask Ms. Buckland, would it be possible for items that are in negotiation stage before they are voted upon? Is there a period for the FACT to say review or just be informed of this is the current proposal and this is to be voted on at the next collective bargaining meeting? Is there that kind of structure to it?
I will need to, that is part of what I will talk with the Office of Law.
Understood. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Any more on this topic or any more for the city manager? Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the audit committee. And as the current designee from the FACT of the audit committee, I will just say that the audit committee is being reconstituted. Its new chair is Alderman Thorpe, who is present today. So later in this meeting, I'll address my continued or discontinued involvement in the audit committee, but I'll introduce Alderman Thorpe.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I very much look forward to working with the FAC. Our first meeting of the audit committee is on Tuesday. And just to give the FAC a flavor of where we're going, which is this little brief is going to end with I look forward to working with you and for all the time you want to put into the union bargaining. I would like that time to get assistance with the audit committee. So the chairman and I have had a good conversation about the audit committee moving forward. This was something that Mayor Littman or candidate Littman and candidate Thorpe spoke a lot about during the campaign. And I was very excited to be put on the finance committee with Alderwoman O'Neill and Alderman Huntley. In that the way we look at this is that the finance committee creates the plan, i.e. the budget, and the audit committee, in addition to doing the standard things that the audit committee has been doing and would be doing in all circumstances, looking at the audit, being responsible for the audit, as well as looking at risk. And by the way, risk is a big element that we will be looking at in the city, specifically risk of lawsuits and as well as major projects. But the big element that we're going to be working on is what we call the product of the plan. And so there is the idea being that the plan needs to be more metric oriented. The budget needs to be more metric oriented, data oriented, trend oriented. I had the opportunity to sit in on all the budget meetings last year as a candidate and at the finance committee as well as the city council. And we're really driving to a more data-driven budget so that the audit committee has the opportunity to ensure that the product of the plan is being evaluated. Now, I want to be crystal clear on this. It's not going to be the audit committee's job to evaluate the product of the plan. That primarily falls on to the city manager and the mayor. It's the audit committee that's going to ensure that the product that there is a process that includes when the plan is developed, what funds are going to what areas in order to create what outputs and outcomes. I'm a big input, output, outcome guy. And then to make sure that that evaluation is done. And I would encourage you to visualize a circle, right? The finance committee does the plan. The product of the plan is overseen, evaluated, that there is a product by the audit committee, which then empowers the finance committee to do a more in-depth look at the plan the following year, and year after year, you continue to get process improvement. Mayor Littman and I have had a lot of conversations about this. Quite frankly, I will tell you, it would only work if the mayor if the mayor is supportive of this process. He's driving it. I very much look forward to being a part of that moving forward. So, and I definitely will be coming to the FAC as we go through this, keeping you updated as to how we're doing on that, and asking for your advice as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Thank you very much. I appreciate the leadership and the oversight from the audit committee. All right, next item on the agenda is the election of officers. With the recent departure of the chair, I'll entertain nominations for the position of chair of the FAC.
I'll nominate Mr. Cardillo to chair the FAC.
Second.
Nominated by Mr. Vail, seconded by Mr. Rubino. If there's any discussion, I hear no discussion. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 You have to raise your hand too.
I do. Thank you. Thank you. I turn now to the office of vice chair, the position of vice chair. I would entertain any nominations for the position of vice chair.
Nominate Mr. Vail.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Meehan. All in favor of, or if there's any discussion, I see no discussion. All in favor of Mr. Vail as vice chair of the FAC, signify by saying aye.
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 Thank you. Congratulations, Mr. Vail. Next is the appointment of a designee from the FAC to the audit committee. I have served in this role for 7 years, and I am happy to relinquish that position, and I look forward to a knowledge transfer for the FAC designee.
I'm happy to nominate Mr. Rubino to be our audit designee to the audit committee.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Meehan. All in favor of Mr. Rubino as the FAC designee to the audit committee, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
gentlemen.
Carries. They're just knocking out all the new items. Great. Okay, on the new business list, I have the 2025 annual report. You will see a summary page and then a matrix page with a listing of attendees, and then a summary of the minutes for each meeting in which a quorum was present. I checked over my attendance record and found it accurate. If you've had a chance to review, please let me know. Each commission of the city submits this annually. It's sent to the city clerk, and this is then submitted in whole to the council. So I ask for any amendments or revisions to the 2025 annual report. Seeing no revisions, I will entertain a motion for approval of the draft.
I'll motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Vale,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Rubino. All in favor of the 2025 annual report as drafted, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Next, just two items. I was going to ask Alderman Huntley as the
Jim?
chair of the Finance Committee. Yes,
Jim?
Mr. Arnett, yes.
I think we should really thank Ms. Valenti for an excellent job. This is a very
Oh.
good report.
You are correct. Thank you. Yes, the public recognition is important. Thank you, Kat. She and I had some previous conversations about this, and I was glowing in my praise of her. And yes, I should mention that publicly. Thank you. Thank you for catching me.
Thank you. Keeping us all on task with
Yes.
multiple reminders as meetings approach. I appreciate that.
Yes. Yes. I'm very grateful for Kat's work. Sometimes I email her and she responds very promptly, and I am very grateful for the time and effort that she gives to us.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Nice to hear it.
I have two items on the agenda. One is to discuss meeting topics, and the other is to discuss the budget calendar. A few years ago, the city did add a budget calendar to a resolution, and each year a resolution is adopted and passed on the budget timeline. And I'm just going to ask Alderman Huntley if that legislation has been through and is ready for public, and I will go over to Alderwoman O'Neill first, and then to Ms. Buckland.
Thank you. That has in fact taken place. We passed it at the last meeting that we had in December, and I'll make sure that we share that with this body so that you have that, because I believe that there is a presentation that you all are involved in, and I was trying to pull it up as you were talking, and perhaps Ms. Buckland has that.
Yep. I was doing the same thing. So it's R4925 is the budget timeline, and that particular date that's scheduled as a joint meeting with the FAC is April 23rd.
Okay. I will add this to the next FAC. I'll add it to the minutes, and I'll add it to the FAC notes for the March meeting. In addition, there's a report that the FAC generally gives at the conclusion of the budget preparation process, and we'd like that letter to go prior to the submission of the budget to the council. So I need to see the full calendar.
Yeah. So the
I will check the
introduction.
resolution.
Yeah, the introduction of the budget is April 13th. So that joint meeting with the FAC is very soon after the budget is introduced. And June 8th is the scheduled approval of the budget by council.
Okay. So
Yeah.
for FAC
And there's
members,
a bunch of dates in the middle. So if you go to R4925, you'll see that. But those are the biggest ones.
so for FAC members, that means that our May meeting, we will be discussing the report that is delivered because the deadline of June 8 is prior to our June meeting. So thank you very much for that. I'm greatly appreciative of the keeping us informed on that. All right. So then let me revert back to 2026 meeting topics. This is an open discussion. I did indicate we have had discussions with regards to collective bargaining, but I will entertain commission discussion on any other topics outside of if there's a financing. Is there a plan to go out for financing this year that we would have a debt offering to review or anything else?
I believe the chances of that is pretty high. So I would, as far as just general topics for you guys to assume you'll have for this next year, reviewing a bond ordinance is I would assume that's pretty likely.
Great, thank you. So we can expect a bond ordinance to come to us, and then possibly a presentation from the city's bond consultants at Davenport. Thank you. So any other commission members have items to add for discussion on other topics they would like to either present at meetings or to prepare in advance for meetings?
I would suggest one.
Yes, Mr. Meehan.
Yes, I think it might be valuable to have a little introspection on the fact, what its role is, what its accomplishments are, what the procedural bureaucratic hindrances might be. I think a candid where are we and where can we best help the city with recommendations that we might make to the mayor and city council for positioning the fact to be of most value.
Great. Yes, we can add that to one of the meeting topics. Thank you. I will make sure that I get that on the agenda, and I'll circulate some collateral items in advance of the meeting. I did ask this question back in January. I did get a question about how the FAC can assist the finance department, and also to have some insight into the performance of the finance department, and if there were areas of concern or areas of improvement that could be made, and could the FAC then advise the finance department. I think this is a key inflection point and opportunity with a transition in the finance department and bringing in an interim finance director who can give things a fresh perspective, that I would hope that the FAC could then would be used as a sounding board for recommendations coming out of that. Mr. Palacal, do you have any questions or anything to add on that?
Joel may not, but I do.
Thank you, Vicky. Thank you.
Sorry, don't want to put Joel on the spot. Actually, Brittany Moran and I had some conversations with Mr. Sussman about some of those things, and I think that to Mr. Meehan's point, having a little bit of introspection, I feel like those are related topics, and I think that's a very good suggestion on his part.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate that. Mr. Dale.
Yeah, and I'll only add to that, Mr. Palacal, as you step in and hearing Mr. Thorpe discuss, kind of the circular nature of moving from, the finish of one year to the creation of a budget for the next year, and having that inform, a 3 to 5 year, plan. I'm not saying strategy, but from a lot of us in this room that have other experiences outside of the city, that what I've seen in the past year of participating on the FAC is that there might be opportunities to kind of connect the dots and flow the understanding of budget formulation based on actual performance or audit items, and from the different organizations that I've supported, like I'm somehow, the wheel is a good way to put it, is that, there might be a way for us to help in that process of, maintaining some sort of institutional knowledge for anyone who joins the FAC, or any council member that joins the city, to quickly get a handle on, what the finance function does and what someone should be concerned about as soon as they join. As I've kind of had a little bit of difficulty understanding what my place is on as a commission member, as a commissioner, and how I'm supposed to support the city.
Yeah, glad you asked that. Just going to take a slight detour on responding to the question, but one of the large mandates from Vicky in bringing us in was to provide a lot of support around process documentation for the internal finance department, documentation overall, and just standard operating procedures and just training material for the team is of high priority for us. But we see the value of how that can extend beyond just the internal finance team in terms of the communication outwardly to other committees like this. And so we will endeavor to find ways to create that connectivity between that body of work that we're doing to provide additional kind of information for the committee here to see if we can build some of those types of processes as well to generate some more support for continuity and general just planning for the organization. So thank you for the idea.
Good. Thank you. Mr. Thorpe.
Yeah, recognizing that I'm the new guy and there's one former alderman on the call and one current alderman who has significant experience. This brings up an opportunity. Mr. Vail mentioned, I think you mentioned, Mr. Cardillo, that the city council, so I'm fortunate enough to have run a nonprofit for 8 years and have a lot of budgeting experience, but the budget team is so busy, the finance team so busy, and quite frankly, the whole city staff is so busy that one of the things that I think could be improved upon is the orientation that is provided to the city council. And just as an idea, if the FAC wanted to take on sitting down with the members, and quite frankly, I would say open it up to all of them, not just new members, but on an annual basis, a discussion about what their role is in the budgeting process. Well, I think that would be a real benefit to the members of the city council.
Noted. Mr. Arnett.
So I'd like to follow on Frank's thoughts, because there are new members and Frank is very sophisticated vis-a-vis budget matters, but not everybody is, both old and new, on the council. And so I think there's a real opportunity for the FAC to be proactive and make overtures to the city council. They have a tough job, just like the rest of the staff do. But I also think that I've heard from the chair of the finance committee that he's thinking about proceeding with the budget deliberations in a different way than we've done in the past. Usually it's weeks of dog and pony shows from the departments, which are they're basically lobbying for their budget and maybe some enhancements. And I'm interested to see how the finance committee is going to revamp their process and hopefully zero in on some of the more critical issues of the budget. So I think there's an opportunity to both for the FAC to work with new council members, but the councils more directly. But also, I think we're all going to be interested in learning what new processes the finance committee might be taking on.
Go ahead.
I don't want to hijack your meeting, but I could touch on what Mr. Arnett's talking about. The the Finance Committee has, and also Alderwoman O'Neill's on the call as well, the two of us with Alderman Huntley, we have communicated very strongly that the briefs from last year need to change from orientation briefs to budget briefs, to be data-driven, to be trend-oriented, and that what every extra dollar is how that's going to improve the output. This goes back to the audit committee role and all that. Mayor Littman and I have had numerous conversations about this. Again, he's driving it from the internal. The city manager obviously has the critical role here to ensure that the briefs are not just a bunch of information about how many people, what programs we have at Pitt Moyer Center, but rather what does the investment go to? And so it's going to be a growing process. It's not going to change overnight. The city staff, there's no question about it. I've learned in the first 74 days I've been doing this that they are working really, really hard. And so we're not looking to overhaul everything, but we've got to move in the direction where budget briefs are budget briefs and trend focused and input, output, outcome. And so that's the biggest change I think that you're going to see, and we would love to get your advice and support as our new director of finance attacks this and actually get to some budget briefings that can be evaluated a year later as to how we did. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thorpe. I speak on behalf of the entire committee where we say the FAC stands ready to assist and advise the Finance Committee and all members of the council and the Finance Department in all the tasks that they undertake. All right. So then we come to the last item would be any points for the good of the order. And I do want to remark that Mr. Arnett is in attendance here. Mr. Arnett, after serving on the council for 13 years?
19.
19, forgive me, has put in an application to fill a vacancy on the FAC. As the chair, I support that vacancy. Once that comes to the mayor and council for a vote, Mr. Arnett will be added to the FAC roster to fill the vacancy. So,
Welcome back.
yes, clearly. All right, so the next item would be just the next meeting is the 12th of March, Thursday at 8 a.m. again via Zoom. I will entertain a motion to adjourn unless anybody has any other remarks. Oh, Mr. Rubino.
I just want to say you mentioned the loss of Fred Sussman, and rightly so. He's a great friend of the city and did a lot of great things for us over the years. And I appreciate you stepping into the breach and being chairman, doing a great job. And thanks for filling that role and carrying us forward. Over.
Thank you, Joe. The more important matter there is the recognition of Mr. Sussman. So thank you.
Well, with that, I will make the motion to adjourn. I think I'm motioning a lot today.
Thank you. Frequent movements are always good.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Meehan. All in favor of adjourning, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye.